Alright guys, what's up? Welcome to Rams TV. So we finally got the Aftermath DLC we've all been waiting for, and let me just say, I loved every second of those story mode chapters. They were phenomenal in my opinion. From storytelling to character build-up to quality, it was just all a 10 out of 10 for me. And today we're going to be explaining the endings to these amazing chapters. So before I get into any of that, be sure to smash that subscribe button if you haven't already. So with that being said, let's get right into the video. Alright guys, so like I said, this whole story expansion was just so great. I loved all of it. It was just so juicy, guys. The content was so good. But as we all assumed, towards the end, Shang Tsung ends up betraying everybody. Literally, he betrays everyone. The good guys, the bad guys. He defeats Chronica. Shang Tsung is just on top of everyone at this point. And that's when out of nowhere, Fire God Liu Kang shows up and faces off with Shang Tsung, much like he did in Mortal Kombat 1. So it was definitely nice to see that reference of how it all started, Liu Kang versus Shang Tsung. And now here is the most crucial part, which is where we decide if we want to see the villain's end or the hero's end. Now personally, I chose the villain's end first just because I was already playing as Shang Tsung and it was his chapter, so I wanted to play him and finish him all the way through. And what happens when you win as Shang Tsung? Well, obviously first he kills Liu Kang and takes all his powers, literally making Shang Tsung one of the most OP characters in all of Mortal Kombat, and he rewrites the timeline, making himself a Titan, and what seems to be the only Titan at that, as long as making Fujin and Raiden his minions. Like, he literally calls them his minions. So what are they doing, you might be asking? So at this point in this ending, it seems that Shang Tsung and Fujin and Raiden are conquering all the realms out there. They even state that they already have Netherrealm, Earthrealm, and Outworld already conquered, and that they still need Chaos Realm and Order Realm next. So it's basically exactly what like any villain would do, just take over the world, right? Well, in this case, take over the realms. Shang Tsung is just taking over everything, literally becoming God at this point. And it is just, it's a typical villain ending. There's nothing more to say. Now for Liu Kang's ending, which is definitely the preferred one by me and almost everyone out there, the Liu Kang's ending is just great, guys. So when Liu Kang wins, he rewrites the timeline, and the first thing he does is goes all the way back to visit the great Kung Lao, which is obviously our current Kung Lao's ancestor, and he personally tells him that he chooses him to be his champion. And obviously the great Kung Lao's like, champion of what? And as we all know, the champion of Mortal Kombat. So that was definitely great to see. And for any of those of you that might be saying, how do we know that's the great Kung Lao? It is because he is holding this statue that he clearly just made. And this statue might be familiar to a lot of you because it was an MKX when Raiden gave it to Kung Jin, saying that it was a family heirloom from one of his ancestors, obviously that ancestor being the great Kung Lao. So this ending, guys, is basically a reboot. So obviously I put Mortal Kombat 12 in the title because I'm trying to figure out if they would make a Mortal Kombat 12 like continuing this, or would they just do a whole reboot where the great Kung Lao actually ends up winning, or I mean he wins anyways, but it seems that the great Kung Lao will never lose, or doesn't lose to Goro at least, and they're gonna do something based off that. Like I don't know how they're gonna continue off this. If like I said, if we get Liu Kang's ending, it is just a whole reboot of Mortal Kombat, starting with the great Kung Lao and his Mortal Kombat championship. So I would love to see that, mainly because like during the great Kung Lao's time, we didn't have Scorpion or Sub-Zero, so I would want to see all the new characters and ninjas they're gonna add there, since obviously, like I said, it wasn't our time, there was no Scorpion or Sub-Zero, so who would they have along with the great Kung Lao? That would definitely be nice to see. And after that, it would just go, I guess, just as our Mortal Kombat did, just with different people. So I guess it would just be, like I said, a whole reboot. Now, if they continue from Shang Tsung's ending, they could do something pretty interesting too. So like I said, or like they said, they still need to conquer the Chaos Realm and Order Realm. So clearly they left those two specifically for us to know that they still had left to conquer, right? Now that's what I'm guessing they would lead off, like in their journey to conquer these realms, either a really strong hero appears, or or they face some sort of difficulty that like stops them from taking over, and then maybe they end up beating Fujin and Raiden. So I don't know, guys, there's just so much space to like ponder off and just make up things. I definitely, I love this. So guys, I love like just not knowing what's gonna happen next. So in my opinion, we will not get a Mortal Kombat 12, but instead a whole reboot of Mortal Kombat, since it does seem to be the proper choice. Because like how it is now is basically an ending with our Mortal Kombat. There's not really much left to go off of. So a reboot does seem in place, but what I want to know is what do you guys think is going to happen next? Will we get an MK12? Which ending is canon? Please let me know all of that in the comment section down below. Be sure to stay subscribed for more videos just like this one. Thank you for watching, and peace.